Hey guys, it's Troy. Welcome to another video. It's all a value exchange, okay? Everything is a value exchange when it comes to socializing, and specifically when it comes to dating, okay? It's a value exchange, and what you have to do is you have to, firstly, you have some value, okay? You need to be improving your value the whole time. We all do. It's work in progress for everybody, okay? And then you need to learn how to effectively showcase that value without being a braggart, without being an idiot, to women and other people that you are interested in getting to know, okay? And I'm carefully hedging my bets here because this is primarily aimed at people who are interested in getting better dating results, but it's also true of networking as well, right? It's also true of your career and even making friends and socializing and so on and so forth. It's all the same kind of stuff, but obviously with dating there's a more specific goal in mind, okay? There's a more specific pathway in mind that you need to follow, all right? But anyway, regardless, it's all about showcasing your value. So as I say, the first thing is you got to actually have some value, all right? It's not 2012 anymore. It's not 2007 when people were running around in London with funny furry hats on and reciting canned lines to women that they'd read off the internet and sort of getting by with that, okay? We live in a very fast-paced, high dopamine world, okay, where we have a lot of apps. We've got a thing called Instagram, where men from all over the world showcase their wonderful 12-pack abs like me, and their, you know, opulent lifestyles and their good looks and everything, chiseled good looks and amazing jawlines and all the rest of it. And you know, women have a lot of options, okay? The other thing that's happening, and this was probably happening in 2007 as well, but it's certainly happening now, is that women are less and less tolerant of, you know, men that they would regard to be low value, because women are very educated and women obviously have careers, and you know, you will meet women out and about who maybe earn more money than you, or you know, they have very, very good careers, they're highly paid, they're highly skilled. And the old cliche of I don't need no man, you know, people make jokes about it, but there is some truth in it, right? I mean, she doesn't have to just shack up with you in the way that maybe she would have done if this was 1850 and you know she was in a Jane Austen novel, okay? She's not compelled to entertain you or to date you or to sleep with you or certainly to get into a relationship with you, okay? Unless you're bringing something to the table. So what are the things that you need to bring to the table? Well, they're pretty obvious. They're the things that we all already know about, okay? Looks obviously is important. Looks and height and the way that you dress, the way you present yourself, all of that's extremely important. Okay, let's get that out of the way. I'm not denying that that's important, although I think X Factor and edge is more important, but you know, the way that you look, the way that you present is important, so you need to look after that. Okay, that incorporates fitness, all right, because as a guy, if you're fit, if you're in shape, right, you're going to look better. There's a sort of joke on the internet that says, you know, there's no gym for your face, bro, which basically means if you're ugly, why bother going to the gym, because you know it doesn't change your face. Actually, that's not strictly true, because the more lean that you are, your face actually does change. Your face actually does change shape and you will look better, okay? So there kind of is a gym for your face, right? So obviously you want to, you know, keep on top of your fitness, you want to be eating well, good nutrition, etc., etc. All of that kind of stuff is very obvious. So you've got the look side of things, and then you've got the money side of things, right? Career, okay? Do you have resources? Now, this isn't about being a sugar daddy. This isn't about just, you know, paying women to hang out with you or anything like that. But at the same time, you know, particularly when you're in a big city like London or New York or Miami or Los Angeles or whatever, women are going to expect you to come to the table with a certain amount of earning potential. Now, it's not because they're all these harridan gold diggers who are just after your cash and they don't care if you live or die. It's not about that. But, you know, if she's earning 70, 80, 90K a year, for example, in London, she's going to want a guy who's at least on that level and probably higher, or almost certainly higher, if she's going to want to settle down with him or, you know, make anything happen with him, really. Now, okay, if it's a one-night stand, maybe that doesn't matter as much, but if it's anything more than that, if it's anything more than some very casual, very short-term thing, then she's probably going to need you to have a bit more about you. Once again, this isn't about her being a gold digger, but, you know, how can you really be in a relationship with this woman when she has climbed the giddy heights higher than you have, right? I mean, that doesn't speak very much to your masculinity, does it? I mean, competence, right? Masculine competence, this is what women look for. And money or financial stability, right, is a proxy for competence, okay? Because if you are competent, that is, if you go out into the world and you get your own way and you do your own thing and you make waves and the world bends to your will, which is really the ultimate masculine quality that you can have, then you're going to get rewarded for that. You're going to get rewarded for that financially, and you're also going to get rewarded for that in terms of status as well, okay? Now, status is another thing, right? So, you know, in social media terms, we could look at it like that. You know, do you have a lot of followers? I'm not now. You know, I know some of you guys, you're not even on social media, and that's fine. I'm not making some big pitch for social media here. I'm just using it as an example. Okay, you know, if you were somebody with 200,000 followers, I mean, I'm certainly not, but if you were on Instagram, right, that's going to assign you a certain degree of status, right? Which some women, maybe younger women, are going to find particularly attractive, okay? But there are other types of status as well. I mean, you may have no social media, but you are somebody who's very well respected in society or in the society where you live, right? So maybe you're somebody who's built their own business and you are financially blessed, and you know, you go to all the best restaurants and hotels and bars, and all the staff know you, and they know what drink you want to order, they know the table that you want, they know the bedroom that you want, etc., etc., etc. Okay, that again bespeaks status, okay? What else is there? Well, wealth, the way that you look. The rest of it, I would say, is the key thing really, which is the way that you present, because here's the deal, okay? So it's about communicating that value, okay? So the first thing is having it. Oh, I mean, obviously there's things like how you dress and style and stuff like that. There's a lot of peripheral things attached to this, but I think those are the key points really. Money, muscles, game, frame, okay? How you communicate it, though, is all important, because even if you are somebody who you're ticking a lot of those boxes, okay, you don't want to be brash about it, really, all right? You don't want to be brash. You don't want to be going and telling the women that you interact with that you are wealthy or that you have these, you know, so many cars or so many houses or whatever, right? You want to sort of, you want to imply it. It needs to be an insinuation, right? Show, don't tell. Okay. Now, I had a client in where was it? He was an American expat living in the Caribbean, and great guy, fantastic guy. But what he would do was he would go and talk to girls, chat them up, and a few minutes into the conversation, he'd get his phone out and he'd say, "Hey, listen, take a look at my jet skis, all right? Take a look at my houses, take a look at my cars, whatever, right?" And, you know, it kind of worked a little bit on some of the more gold diggery type women who he probably didn't really want to interact with anyway. But it also left a lot of women kind of bemused and looking at him like he was a bit of a buffoon, all right? And this is the key thing, right? You've got to strike that balance. You can't be a braggart, okay? So you need to have value and you need to communicate that, but you don't want to do it in an obvious way. Now, you might be asking, okay, so what is her value? Well, look, I mean, if she is an attractive woman in her prime, okay, or even beyond her prime, I mean, you know, I'm not going to say how long the prime is, you know, it could be a long time, but she's an attractive woman, right? She is going to be coveted by other guys in the dating marketplace. Now, it might also be that she's got a great job, she's very well educated, she's intelligent, she's a great conversationalist, you know, she's very cultured and well-traveled and all that kind of stuff. But if we look at it primarily on looks, because men obviously are very visual and we do tend to, you know, be drawn to looks first and foremost, then, you know, in the context of the dating marketplace, right, she has value because there's going to be a lot of men after her. There's going to be a lot of men who would covet spending time with her. Okay, you're just one of many. All right, so therefore the price is higher because the demand is high, and that pushes up the price. Okay, very simple economics, right? Demand and supply. So you've got to think, all right, so she's here now. It might be, you know, just to pluck a random example out of the air, it might be that she doesn't have an amazing job and she works at McDonald's, but she's incredibly beautiful. Okay, and you could think logically, well, hang on a minute. You know, she's an idiot. Where's her value compared to mine? It's actually not the worst way of thinking about it, to be fair, but I mean, the reality is that even if her occupation isn't that great, she does have value because the demand is still high, okay? So whatever you may think of the value inherent in beauty and looks and so on, it doesn't matter, because you're still going to have to step up to the plate and you're still going to have to demonstrate your value. So women's value, and again, I don't want to be contentious here, I'm not trying to be belittling, but I mean women's value in the raw sexual marketplace does tend to be predicated somewhat on looks, at least, with other things as well, but somewhat on looks. Then the man's value is often predicated on other things. So yes, looks comes into it, as we said at the beginning, but it's also in terms of these other things, most notably wealth and status, or at least financial stability and status, but also the way that he commands the room and himself. Okay, now getting on to the point of, so how do you communicate these qualities if you're not going to be overt about it? Okay, the way that you communicate them is through the way that you present. Okay, I just talked just then about commanding the room, all right? And everything about you should be implicit by the way that you dress, your eye contact, your body language, the way that you interact with other people around you, not just her, but other people around you. So the staff, the maitre d', the barista, the Uber driver, whatever, okay? The way that you interact with other people, and the way that other people respond to you, right? Because the woman is going to be judging you not just in terms of how you deal with her. She is going to be judging that, but it's not just that, it's also how you interact with other people and other men in the environment, okay? Because if you seem to be a bit of a buffoon who nobody respects, then that's not going to bespeak very well of you as a masculine guy in her eyes, and she's likely to lose attraction, okay? So again, everything about your value needs to be implied, certainly at the beginning, rather than stated, okay? It's about how you walk into the room. It's about whether, do people turn around and look at you when you walk into the room, okay? Do you have command presence, all right? Are you somebody who others take seriously, or are you somebody that other people are going to mess around or overlook, or, you know, just thinks a bit of an idiot, okay? That is super, super key. And then the way that you deal with her as well. Are you apparently intimidated by her? Do you seem to be nervous in her presence? Or are you very, very confident in her presence? Are you able to look her straight in the eye and have a conversation with her like an adult, okay? And not get flustered like you're a teenager with sweaty hands on his first date, okay? Super, super, super key, right? You have to get on top of this stuff. And this really, and this isn't a big sales pitch, but this really is what we teach in our course, The Edge, the course that I'm doing with James Tusk and Les Thomas, because the manner in which you communicate your good masculine qualities, which are the things that I've already mentioned, is going to be covert rather than overt, okay? But a lot of guys get tripped up by this. A lot of guys just don't do it very well, okay? So, I mean, another example is storytelling and humor, right? If you are somebody who can hold the attention of those around him and tell a story and maybe get a laugh or two, not being a comedian, but, you know, maybe get a bit of, you know, you can engage people and pull people in, okay? That is a covert sign of value, all right? Because somebody who's able to do that is likely able to perform well in other scenarios as well, maybe the boardroom, okay? Again, you know, you're showcasing all of this stuff without actually saying, hey, I'm a fucking top G kind of super guy, okay? You don't need to say that, because she should be able to intuit it just from hanging around with you and just from seeing the way that you operate. Now, of course, there are subtle markers of wealth and status that you can use if you want. People have watches, people have monogram clothing, people have, you know, nice suits or tailor-made suits and pocket squares and all this kind of thing, nice shoes, expensive shoes. So obviously you can do yourself a favor and you can ensure that you are, and this is coming into the fashion side of things, you can ensure that you are dressed well, you present well, okay? So that's a shortcut, okay, to communicating status. But what's more important, I would argue, is the manner in which you conduct yourself, your charisma, okay? All of these things that I was talking about before, these covert tells, right? The way that you engage with people, the way that you engage with the room. That's what's really going to turn the dial for you. And the good news is that all of that stuff is learnable. But if you're having difficulties with it at the moment, then you're going to need to get coaching and mentorship. And if you're interested in that with me, email me at troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Put your WhatsApp details and we can have a chat, okay? But in closing, it's all a value exchange, all right? She is scanning the dating marketplace. She's looking for the guy with the best value that, you know, she can get with. And to be fair, you're doing the same thing. You know, you're doing the same thing. You are scanning the dating marketplace and you're thinking, okay, so you know, what is the most attractive, pleasant, feminine, whatever your the qualities that you look for, woman that I can get. Okay, so both of you are doing the same thing. I mean, women get a lot of stick in male videos and, you know, the manosphere stuff online because, you know, it's like, oh, you know, there's standards and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that men also have standards. Men are also looking for certain things. They're also looking for the best deal that they can get in the dating marketplace. It's just that most men are chumps and they're not able to get it. So they settle for whatever they can get, okay? That doesn't need to be you. You don't want that to be you, right? You want to be the guy who goes out there and is able to access the best that he can get, the best deal in the marketplace that he can get for himself, okay? But in order to do that, you're gonna have to learn these soft skills, okay? So email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give me a like, give me a comment below, let me know what you think about this. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.